What's going on, guys? Welcome back to WWE Network and Chill, where I, Graham G. Matthews, break down all the original content I watch on the WWE Network. And today we're talking one of the most recent episodes of WWE Timeline, entitled Do You Love Me Now?, focusing on the feud between Trish Stratus and Mickie James from 2005 through 2006. As I've said before here in my reviews of WWE Timeline in the past, I love the fact that they focus on feuds that aren't really talked about as much. Now, we all know about the Mickie Trish feud, of course, but for that WWE Rivalry shows, the WWE Rivalry show that they did years ago on the network, they focused on all the prominent feuds. So like Mr. McMahon and Stone Cold, or Stone Cold and Rock, or Trish and Lita, I'm sure was one of those episodes. And they're all great feuds. But I think it's just as important to shine some light on the lesser-known feuds, the feuds that didn't get as much love, Trish and Mickie being one of them. One of the greatest women's rivalries in WWE history that really changed a lot of things for that women's division from that point forward. So we start at the beginning here. They kind of recap Trish's rise to superstardom she debuted in 2000, but it wasn't until Survivor Series 2001 that she won her first championship in WWE in the form of the WWE Women's title at Survivor Series. She captured fans' hearts soon after, rose to superstardom, went on to become a 5-time women's champion by 2005, winning the gold back from Lita at the 2005 New Year's Revolution pay-per-view. I believe it was in late 2004 that they main evented Raw, and that was when Lita beat Trish for the championship. And then I think Lita got hurt, or something, maybe not legitimately, I forgot exactly what happened, but Trish got the belt back by January from Lita, and then she went on to embark on a year-long reign as champion from January of 2005 through WrestleMania in 2006. So practically like a 15-month reign as the WWE Women's Champion. And they also brought up how in early 2003, at the Slammy Awards of sorts, at the 10-year anniversary edition of Raw, she earned the award for Diva of the Decade. Now, mind you, this was 2003, so I'm not sure if they mean from 93 to 2003 as like the decade of Raw, or if they mean from 2000 to 2010, which is what they kind of made it sound like. Which she was by 2006 when she retired, but 2003 is a little premature to be saying, Diva of the Decade, we're only 3 years in, but whatever. So we fast forward to the beginning of the feud here. October of 2005, Trish successfully retained the Women's Championship on Raw against Victoria. Now, so I'll go on to talk about this as we move along here. Victoria is always on the opposite side of the ring of Trish Stratus. Anytime that Trish and Ashley team up, Trish and Mickie team up, Mickie has to face someone, it's almost always Victoria. And Victoria almost always loses. That was practically her role for the final few years that she was in WWE before leaving in 2008. I only ever remember her being on SmackDown, and that was like by the end. I wasn't watching in 2005, 06. So I don't remember her run on Raw all too well. I know she won the championship early on in her run in 2002 from Trish, actually. But it seemed like that was the peak of her popularity in the company. And then she was just kind of there to lose to people from that point forward. And she was way better than that. But anyway, Trish beats Victoria to retain the championship. Mickie James, who no one had known by that point. I think she was in TNA very briefly. But that was under a different name, of course. So she comes in, makes the save. And saves Trish from Victoria. And the commentators are playing this up as like it's a crazy fan. Why are they in the ring? Where's security? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm kind of wondering the same thing watching this footage. Like if she's supposed to be a fan, which I thought she was, then where the hell is security? We actually find out after the match in a backstage segment when Mickie confronted Ashley and Trish backstage that Mickie was actually a WWE diva. She signed her WWE contract the week before. And Trish is like, Mickie James, where have I heard that name before? And Mickie says, well, I've written to you only about a gajillion times. I'm one of your biggest fans. I idolize you, blah, blah, blah. So Trish is like, oh, that's a little weird. Like her and Ashley are like, oh, that's odd, but whatever. Like it was nice of her to save me. So from there, the very next week, I believe, Mickie teamed up with Trish and Ashley in 6-woman tag team action. Again, of course, against Victoria. So they have this 6-woman tag team match. Mickey's in the ring, I believe, against Victoria. And Mickie attempted to do, and she actually did, the Stratusfaction move. And Trish is like, that's a little weird. And in attempting to copy Trish's moveset, she lost the match. She lost the match for her team. Fast forward to the Halloween costume contest 2 weeks later on the actual Halloween edition on Raw, because it fell on a Monday that year in 2005. Mickie dressed up as Trish Stratus for the Halloween costume contest. I forgot who won. I don't think it was either one of them. I don't know if they even said that here in this segment, in this footage from the segment. But Mickie dressed up as Trish. Trish dressed up as Wonder Woman, but not Mickie. Mickie dressed up as Trish, and that's when she kind of came across as an obsessed superfan. So we go all the way to December 12th of 2005 on Raw. Mickie beats Victoria to become the number one contender to the championship at the New Year's Revolution pay-per-view. And Trish Stratus sat in on commentary for Victoria versus Mickie. So a couple of weeks after, it may have been on that same show, but I'm pretty sure it was soon after. On Raw, it's like around Christmas time, Mickie shows Trish like her mistletoe, and we've seen this clip a million times. They've shown this on Raw a million times. Mickie actually kissed Trish under the mistletoe, and not given Trish's consent. Trish was just kind of there. Mickie swooped in a kiss, surprise kissed her. Trish is like, oh, no. Like, she just kind of got a little frustrated and walked away. And Mickie's upset at herself that she upset Trish and that she went for it, blah, blah, blah. But the point is that she kissed Trish under the mistletoe. So they have a match, which a lot of people may forget about, at the New Year's Revolution pay-per-view for the Women's Championship. Trish beat her. It was a very good match. Trish beat her to retain the title. Joey Styles on commentary called it one of Trish's toughest battles to date, which is saying a lot, considering Trish had faced everyone from, Lita to Victoria, among people of that caliber, So Mickie actually went up to Trish afterward, and she was like, oh, thank you so much. That was such a great match. It was electric, blah, blah, blah. Our bodies, like, you could feel the touch. It was so weird, and obviously that was the point. Trish is like, the fuck? Because Mickie was like, oh, it was so nice when our sweaty bodies touched. So you can clearly tell there was something going on here beyond Mickie just being a fan of Trish Stratus. Clearly there was something else brewing between the two on Mickie's side of things, that is. So we see Ashley backstage at Raw with Trish Stratus, and Ashley called, there we go, Mickie James crazy. She called her obsessed, actually, was the word that she used. And she goes to Trish, oh, don't you think Mickie's obsessed? And Trish is like, oh, don't do that, because Mickie was right behind Ashley. And Mickie's like, oh, are you talking about me behind my back? Are you calling me obsessed? Blah, blah, blah. So Mickie's feelings are hurt, obviously, and Ashley didn't outright say it, but she believed that Mickie was obsessed with Trish Stratus and that she should probably, calm down and whatever, that she should probably stay away from Mickie. So on the January 16, 2006 edition of Raw, Mickie attacked Ashley. She attacked Ashley during a tag team match. I think it was like Trish and it was a 6-woman tag team match. It was Trish, Ashley, and Mickie versus, again, Victoria and 2 other people. And during the match, one of their opponents, pushed back Ashley, and Ashley knocked Mickie inadvertently off the ring apron. So Mickie just goes off. She gets pissed. She gets in the ring, attacks Ashley, and that leads to Ashley getting pinned and them losing the match. So Trish is like, the fuck's going on here? What's going on? Why is Mickie just getting so upset? So Mickie gets upset at Trish, and she kind of cries about, oh, woe is me. I'll keep my distance, blah, blah, blah. I really thought we were friends, and why would Ashley do that to me? Blah, blah, blah. So fast forward to the Royal Rumble. Mickie James faces Ashley one-on-one, with Trish serving as the special guest referee. Mickie, right before Trish is about to go out and Trish's music is playing and Trish is like about to run to the ring, Mickie goes, no, I have to tell you something. I love you. And then Trish is like, the fuck kind of thing? So she just kind of storms off. They have the match. Mickie actually had to cheat to beat Ashley. She had Ashley on the top rope. Ashley was punching down, raining punches down on Mickie James. Mickie James grabbed her from the back of her pants, whipped her down really hard. It looked like it really fucked up her back or neck or head or whatever. It looked brutal. So she held the tights when she did that. She held the tights again when she was making the pinfall, but Trish didn't see it. So she counts the 1, 2, 3 for Mickie. She probably would have won anyway. That was a pretty brutal fall. Mickie wins the match. Next night on Raw, Mickie's all elated. She told Trish that she loved her. She built up the courage to tell Trish that she loved her, in addition to winning the match that Trish, in her mind, helped her win. So she throws this giant celebration thinking that Trish feels the same way about Mickie that Mickie does about Trish, saying that she loves her back. Trish comes out to confront Mickie, and Trish is like acting all weird, like what the hell's going on here? She's acting all conflicted and not really sure what to do. Ashley comes out and says, listen, the truth is, Mickie, Trish doesn't love you back. And in fact, her, like me and everyone else, you're a psycho. She thinks you're a psycho. So the fans start chanting, Mickey's a psycho, blah, blah, blah. Mickey starts crying before attacking Ashley. And Trish tries to break them up. But Mickey kicks Ashley anyway, right in the head. So clearly inching towards an official heel turn here. On the March 6, 2006 edition of Raw, Mickey hosted it. I don't know what happened in between, like in the month of February. They don't really cover any of that stuff. They probably made up or something. Or Ashley disappeared, I don't know. So Mickey hosts an edition of the Kiss Cam before putting it on herself. And she starts kissing an edition of, like, I don't know if it was Playboy or WWE Magazine or something. And Trish was on the cover. So Mickey starts kissing it, and she's pretending like her and Trish are making out because they love each other in her mind. So Trish tells her backstage, listen, after the upcoming tag team match that we have at Saturday night's main event, we need some time apart here. You know, it's getting a little weird. You're acting a little strange. You need to stop doing that. We need some time apart. As if they have to go through like a breakup or something, even though they were never really together to begin with. And Trish knows that, but she's acting like they're breaking up. So we get to Saturday night's main event. The two team up. I forget against who, but they actually win the match. Trish won the match for the team. Shakes her hand. And then Mickey gets a little closer. And Trish wasn't like thinking about it. Just was like, what is she doing? She didn't want to be rude. So just as Mickey goes for the kiss, Trish turns her cheek. So Mickey kisses her cheek instead. And she's like, why would you do that? Stop. And then Mickey's like hugging her, all excited, all over the place. It reminded me a lot of like Nikki Cross's mannerisms. If they were doing this storyline today, it would practically be Alexa Bliss would be, that's actually a very good dynamic now that I think about it. Alexa Bliss would be Trish, and Nikki Cross would be Mickey James. So anyway, she kisses her on the cheek. She hugs her, and then when Trish is like, what are you doing? Mickey turns around, bop, kicks her right in the head, lays out Trish Stratus, and cements the heel turn on Saturday night's main event. She cuts a promo afterward backstage with Jonathan Coachman, who interviewed her, and she goes, listen, Trish broke my heart. I wasn't just saying that I loved Trish. I did love Trish. I loved her with every ounce of my being, but you know what? She broke my heart. I still love Trish. So because she broke my heart, I'm going to have to break her. On the March 20th, 2006 edition of Raw, we see Mickey kidnap Ashley, and she attacks Ashley, she attacks Trish, and she also kissed her on the lips while she was bleeding too. It was a really disgusting sight with the blood and everything. It was a pretty brutal angle. And we see her cutting another promo where she says that her new obsession is no longer just Trish. It's Trish's destruction. And at WrestleMania, she vows to take her women's championship. And that's exactly what she did. Fast forward to WrestleMania 22, one of the best women's matches in WWE history, WrestleMania history, what have you. Just a great match. Partly because we hadn't really seen this type of competitive, athletic match. In a way we have, in a few different instances we have. But on the regular, not really. Up to 2006, it was all about like the bras and panties and dumb shit like that. Trish and Mickey went out there and had a great fucking match between two great professional wrestlers. And obviously Trish and Lita had a lot of good matches, but this was one of those matches as well. And people still realize that to this day, that this was one of the greatest women's matches ever, if not in just WrestleMania history. So Mickey wins. She becomes the women's champion. The feud continued. They had a match at Backlash, I believe. I kind of forgot about the feud after that, what happened after that. They had a match at Backlash that Trish won, but by DQ. Then I think one of them got hurt, or Mickey went face, or something like that. So the feud kind of abruptly ended out of nowhere. But aside from that, though, Trish ended up beating Mickey in a rematch on Raw, like days before her retirement. I think on September 11th or something around there, in early September of 2006. And then Trish, which they don't show here, but we all know about it, went on to beat Lita at the Unforgiven pay-per-view to become the women's champion one final time before retiring that same night. And people knew that going in. So that's why they did the Trish and Mickey match on Raw, I'm sure, was to kind of give Trish that win, end the feud, have one of her final matches on Raw against one of her greatest rivals. It makes sense. So they squared off one more time at the Royal Rumble in 2018. Trish made her grand return to number 30. Mickey was already there. They had that great face-off, a great moment. I was there for that pay-per-view. I was there for that moment. It was awesome. It was electric in that building. And then Tom Phillips, who narrates this thing, says that they remain close friends to this day, and how their feud not only showcased a new breed of athleticism and storytelling for the women in WWE, but also helped lay the foundation for today's groundbreaking women's division. I thought this was a really good episode. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think this was the first... Was this the first women's rivalry that we've gotten here on the show? I think it is. Yeah, we've gotten a ton on Christian and Orton and Styles and Cena, Miz and Bryan. The Rock's early rise, Ric Flair and Randy Savage, which was great, Brett and Owen. So yeah, I think this was the first women's feud covered here on the show, and it's the perfect first feud to go with between Trish Stratus and Mickie James. That definitely deserves some love, especially this week. I think they were both on the bump. Not this week. This is going up well after the fact, but when this went up, they had Trish and Mickie on the bump, probably due to this. But Mickie also went for the Raw Women's Championship 2 days on Raw before this went up. So that's pretty cool as well. Great timing for the special that was the Do You Love Me Now edition of WWE Timeline. Check it out right now on WWE Network. Check out all my other WWE Timeline reviews right here on WWE Network and Chill in the playlist in the description box down below. Be sure to like the video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more daily content. Have a great one, guys. I'm Graham G. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.